Okay, hi Crystal, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Mandy?
Good, good. Very nice to see you.
Good. And I see you've got Miss Molly there.
Oh, look, let me show you. There she is.
Hello, Miss
Hi.
Molly.
She's been
Beautiful
very
girl.
quiet, so we'll just have
Oh,
a bit of a
good.
snuggle time while we talk. I hope that's all right.
Yes, nothing
What's she
like a bit of
doing?
fur company. Absolutely.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. Yeah. I've been thinking of you and I was just thinking about your beautiful couture embroidery work. And I was just
Mm.
wondering, like, could you tell me, like, how did your love of couture embroidery get started, Crystal?
Okay. So I've been a hand embroidery for many, many years, and then on the internet, I found this amazing book, which is all the history of Monsieur Lesage and
That
his
looks
fashion
beautiful.
house. So
Mm.
yeah, from the turn of the century all the way through to the 80s, he did run this beautiful couture fashion house in Paris and did all the gorgeous embroidery for the top European designers. He retired and Chanel bought the house, so it still exists and it's become a school. And that's where you go if you would like to learn couture embroidery.
Oh,
So that was the inspiration. And it took me, I didn't have the budget to fly to Paris and live there for a month at a time and then pay for the tuition. So it was a bit of a longer journey for me, but I was very blessed in 2016 to study with an Australian lady who had been to Lesage and was Lesage trained. So I feel very, very blessed to have had that foundation. And since then, I've studied with many other teachers. And so that led me to where I am now.
oh, wow, it is a beautiful book. It does look
Mm.
beautiful. And I think, is that true? You worked for Hand and Lock in London, is that
Mm.
right?
Yeah, I did. Before COVID in 2019, my passion and love of couture embroidery took me to this amazing
How
um,
exciting.
job. Yeah, it was pretty amazing because people all over the world applied, and I was lucky enough to be given the job. So I went to London and I did some training with them, and it was amazing. I got to see their atelier and see how they work and the history. They've got an amazing history. You know, they've done embroidery for the royal family. They work with lots of top designers. And I think the highlight, besides the training and the job, the highlight for me was one day she said to me, go into the sample room and pick some samples to take to the US with you. So the sample room is this small room, but it's just lined with samples all the way
Oh,
from the 1950s up to the present day. And so I said to her, can I take photographs? She said, yeah, for your own reference, that's fine. So she left me in there and they forgot about me.
oh
So I
my
was in there for
goodness.
hours and hours. And I
Oh,
was like,
like a
my
king.
it was just like inspiration overload. My heart was beating. I was like, yes, look at all these beautiful embroideries.
How beautiful.
And I just kept taking photos until my phone died. It was like, okay, and then about 2:30, she walks past the room again and said, we forgot about you. Everyone's gone to lunch. What are you doing? It's like, just leave me. Come back at the end of the day. I'll be fine. So that was
Oh my
really,
goodness, you didn't mind at all.
they
You
could have
didn't
left
mind
me in
at
there
all.
for a year and I'd have been happy. It was like, it was just magical to see. And, it was couture embroidery for many, many different artisans over the years. So there was such diversity and ingenuity in what I
The,
saw. It was,
the
yeah,
creativity, the history, how
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, absolutely. So that night in the hotel, I couldn't sleep at all because I was just like looking through all these pictures and my mind was just buzzing with all that inspiration. Yeah, it was just really a beautiful, beautiful experience.
And did that, obviously that would have inspired you, but now you're doing some online teaching at the moment. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So there's a couple of different options. I created a beginner's tambour embroidery course. So, if you don't have the budget to get on a plane and go to Paris, and during COVID we couldn't, some people still
No.
can't travel. So there's this option for you that I created a really concise, clear course because something that has annoyed me with online learning is when the lecturer or the tutor is just rambling on about stuff that's just not of interest to me. And it's like, come on, just show me the bit of
That's right. You
information.
don't need all the preamble, do
I
you?
don't
No,
need the
you don't.
preamble. I don't need the
No,
unboxing. I don't need
no,
your history. I just
no.
want to see how to do what we're doing. So my course is made up of 5 lessons, but they're concise, clear information.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And what will your clients or your students learn in your online course?
All right, so there's 5 basic lessons. The first one is called dressing the frame, and I'll explain that a little more.
Okay.
This is the frame.
Oh,
You get a complete embroidery kit shipped to your door worldwide. That comes with the course, and this is a special tambour frame that I've had made for my students. And you have to learn how to dress the frame, how to do this special lacing down the side. So that is what the first lesson covers. Second lesson is all about the tambour hook, how to use the hook, how to make the chain stitch. And that sounds easy, but it's actually a little bit tricky because we're
yeah.
working with both hands. We're working blind, upside down. The embroidery is facing the floor. You can't see what you're doing.
Well, that would
Um,
be very challenging for beginning students, I think.
it is because a lot of people, myself included, came to it with an embroidery history. It's like, oh yeah, I'm a really skilled embroiderer.
Yeah,
I could do this.
because you're watching what you're doing. Yeah.
It's like, well, actually, I couldn't just do it because it's like learning a musical instrument. You have to practice. And it's
Yes,
like scales on the piano. You just practice, 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 and then eventually it just clicks in, and then it is easy and pleasurable. But
that's
yeah, that first lesson is very broken down. I've got a mantra. I've now taught thousands of people, so I've worked out a really clear step-by-step breaking down. If you follow those steps and you practice, it will work. If you
that's good.
don't follow the steps, you will get frustrated, which is what happens to most people who try and learn by themselves. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
lesson 2. Lesson 3 is all about how to work in all 4 directions, because in tambour we don't just always work towards ourselves. You have to learn the different ways of working in the 4 directions. And that also lesson teaches you how to start and how to finish. We call it casting on and casting off.
Okay.
Then we move on to lesson 4, which is working with beads. So that's when all the
Oh,
fun and the
that would be
glitter, and
exciting.
yes, we work with
Yeah.
seed beads and pearls and Swarovski crystals. So that all comes into that.
Beautiful.
And then the last lesson, lesson 5, is all about working with sequins. So sequins are the hardest thing to work out how to push them up with your fingers when you can't see what you're doing. And so
Okay.
that's why we leave that for lesson 5. And that
Oh,
will give you a really good overall basic start to tambour embroidery.
well, that sounds wonderful, and how, it sounds like you'll be on your way to creating something beautiful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And who's this course for? Who have you tailored this course for?
So I have students from 15 all the way through to 80. So I would say the course is for anybody who is interested in tambour embroidery, couture embroidery. Sometimes people come to me, like the younger students, because they're starting their career in fashion and they're drawn to couture. Sometimes I'll have people who do dancing. Sometimes it's costume. Sometimes it's people from museums who do restoration. A lot of the time, it's just people who love couture and who want to learn the highest art of embroidery that you can. And
It's very diverse and it's very open, isn't it? Open-ended for anyone who wants to learn. Absolutely.
absolutely, and I just think technology is a wonderful thing because you can sit in your own home and watch these video lessons again and again and again until you get it. And then if you don't do it for 6 months or a year and you forget, it's like, oh, where's that video? And you just watch it again. And then you get
Ah,
just that little bit of, reminder, because we all forget things, I
I
think.
think that's important as a learner, that you know that
Yeah.
you always go back, you can
Yeah.
reference it again and just remind yourself. That's
Exactly right,
wonderful.
because we just need that little, oh yeah, that's how I got started.
That's
I forgot that little bit. And
yeah.
I
And then,
think
yeah, it'll inspire you to continue. That's wonderful. And once
correct.
the course is finished, your online course has been completed, what's next for your students, your clients?
Mm. So if after the basics course, your passion's really been ignited and you want to learn more, then I have a level 2 and 3 course, and I teach that one-on-one. I don't teach that in a group or as a downloadable course, because by that point, I think you want to have it tailor-made just for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So people then start, have different directions they want to go in. And I like to work one-on-one on Zoom, or if you're in Australia, you can come and work with me in person.
Yeah.
And my students are all over the world, from Texas to London to remote areas in outback Australia. And that's what I love about the technology now and Zoom. It's not the same as being in the room with somebody, but it is pretty amazing that I can sit right here in my little office in Australia and have a student in London, and then the next day a
Ah,
student in Texas. It's
oh,
kind of amazing, isn't it?
it is wonderful. I think that is the beauty of the world we're living in at the moment, isn't it? That's,
Yeah,
technology is wonderful.
yeah,
Is
absolutely.
anyone else, is there anything else you'd like to say to anyone listening now about, um, your course here?
Well, I'd like to say if you're drawn to tambour embroidery, then take the plunge. Buy the course. I'll ship you the kit. You'll have beautiful quality materials to work with. I'll take you step by step through everything. And tambour is just the most incredible journey. Into couture embroidery. And there are all other areas of couture once you're in that we can, dabble with. We can do a bit of ribbon, a bit of thread painting, a bit of 3D work, all sorts of other stuff, gold work. But if you would like just to start this journey, then join me. Join
It
me on this.
sounds wonderful, Christopher. And it sounds like you've done all the hard work. And so
I,
anyone joining you, really, it's just a platform to start from, a springboard to start from. It sounds wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct. And you don't have to have a big budget. I think that's,
that's so important.
it
Yeah.
is, because not only is the convenience of having it in your own home, you don't have to have a big budget. You don't have to fly to Paris. You don't have to pay the exorbitant fees at Lesage, and you can
And you
get
get all the skills. Yeah.
there you go. So if you're drawn to couture embroidery and you're watching this, then I hope you will join me and
I
let's
hope so
take that
too.
journey together.
I hope so too. It sounds wonderful. It sounds very exciting. All the best. I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Miss Molly.
There's Molly. Say
Goodbye.
bye.
Bye, Miss
There
Molly.
she is.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Ciao.
Thanks.